When you got BPD, it is extremely hard to listen when you are in a confrontation. Yo, it ain't hard for me to listen if we just tutti frutti, booty to booty. Never mind. That was not good. It is when you are in a confrontation, and a big difference between bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder is that it's circumstantial. With borderlines, it's something that happens circumstantially. That's why I talk a lot about mini panic attacks. For example, recently with my husband and I always, and this is another BPD thing, is you lose things, important things that adults should have. The pat for the keys, the wallet, and what's the other thing? Phone. I don't do the pat, keys, wallet, phone. I go lose. That's a trigger because it's valid that it's upsetting to the other person. It's upsetting my husband. Because why? Because now we got to drive 20 minutes to go get a spare key and then come this extra 40, 50 minutes. Valid, but I don't want to hear it. I'm shutting down. I'm over there feeling like the worst person in the world. And even how I'm responding is being received as not being humble, not really truly being apologetic. That's the victimization part there, right? Because borderline, you feel it to the depths of your soul. My gosh, you are a problem. You've been a problem for years. There's always been a problem. You know, you're the worst, and you start, and that isn't an apology. That is not the response of somebody without BPD. We feel triggered that we just don't listen. We get defensive, and the defensiveness is like as soon as there's some validity start coming, and but that was a bad season. Let's talk about all the other things that were going on besides me losing my keys. Why am I bringing that up right now? Because I'm borderline. Thing with BPD, at least for me, scratching my skin in a certain place, picking at my skin, you start shaking, your heart's beating fast, like pounding, and the person doesn't know that all of this is going on, and it really doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but in that instance, we try and make that matter, like, wait a minute, but look at me. Look at how this is affecting me. Look at how me losing my keys and you having to drive 40 extra minutes and you're upset. That's making me upset. And now you're hurting my feelings. You see how we flip the script? You see, that's not healthy behavior. Oh, right. That's like me saying, what, I'm going to fix the faucet or whatever so it stops leaking. Then the next day there's a whole bunch of water on the floor. The other person's got a valid reason to be upset because you said what you said. And the way I'm looking at it is it was a mistake. I forgot, but it's like the defensiveness. And, we cut people off. A BPD person has a favorite person. In this case, for me, it's my husband. When there's discord between us, the heart racing, the defensiveness, cutting off, and it just makes it worse and worse. But the thing with borderlines is we don't have a topper. We don't have a ceiling at how far this can go because we grew up, or at least like I speak for myself, I grew up with adult examples that it was the wild, wild west. We never knew when it was going to end. And there was never a top. It just kept getting as big as it could get. And I never saw a mature example of what a discord or an argument should look like. Lack of boundaries, right? It's a lack of respect and boundaries for the other person as well. Like, okay, we're getting to this level, like we need to jump off of the Titanic. Dang, like, why do I keep coming up with these examples that, like, that's not a good analogy that we can overcome with DBT therapy? Have the tools. We don't have the tools. When you don't have the tools, it's like being in a boat. How to drive a boat, you don't have the instructions, you ain't gonna go anywhere. And that's the same thing with the mental disorder, borderline personality disorder, is that if you do not get into DBT therapy, you will not learn the coping mechanisms or the communication tools or the mechanisms that help you get through these situational things so that you can be healed. We feel attacked, or we feel like we're being met with confrontation. All of a sudden, there's no boundaries with us. We victimize ourselves, but then also we do it in such a way where we get out of whatever was actually our fault. We actually do this thing where we apologize, but we also are blaming the other person for the fact that we're hurt at how they were hurt at what we did. It don't make sense. Even as I'm saying it out loud, I'm surprised I don't have 2 ex-husbands by this point, because